Honorable Mainir.
Speaker, we were all shocked when President Jacob Zuma appointed that minister to his cabinet. And we were shocked because we suspected that the minister would not serve the public interest, but that he would serve the private interests of one family, and that family is the Guptas. Well, we were right, because the minister has now allowed himself to become a hired gun for the Guptas, effectively recommending that the executive investigate the termination of certain financial services via an inquiry. And of course, later we were told that the minister had misfired, that his statement was in his personal capacity, and that the cabinet deeply regretted his statement. But the damage was done, and the minister has now achieved what no minister has ever achieved. He has united the ANC, the SACP, and COSATU in condemning him. It is clear that the minister is an embarrassment. He's an embarrassment to the president. He's an embarrassment to cabinet. He's an embarrassment to parliament. And he's an embarrassment to the ruling party. And so I ask the minister, why did you issue the controversial statement? Why did you believe that the controversial statement was reflected in the views of the cabinet? And whether the minister will not reconsider his statement and say right here, right now, that he will resign. Because in the end, the minister must go, and he must go now, because we do not want a hired gun for the Guptas in this parliament.
The Honorable the Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As I've said earlier on, Honorable Manir has no right to ask me to resign. But let me place it on record that the people who have been prejudiced by this matter, some of them are here in Western Cape. 2 days ago, I received a letter which was saying by somebody here in Eastern Cape, Western Cape, and Mr. Honorable Manir must be well aware of this matter, that in 2003, the person represented a widow's asset which were wrongly dealt with, and the matter is at the court, and the person has submitted proof to that effect. And it's not only that person. We also received the last 2 days a letter from a certain Miss Jeanette, who said these issues are there. People of South Africa are crying over these issues. If Mr. Honorable Manir think that this minister has an intention of an individual, he must allow the due processes to unfold, so that during those processes, we can prove once and for all that the people of South Africa has issues with the issues of banks. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Speaker.
Honorable Steenhuisen, is that a point of order?
It is a point of order, Madam Speaker, in terms of 141. You would have allowed this urgent question because you would, as the custodian of Parliament, have agreed it was urgent that South Africans get answers to it. The Honourable Manir put several questions to Minister Zwane. He has not answered one of them. He asked him why he issued the cabinet memorandum. He asked him a series of other questions. Instead of talking about cases currently before the Western Cape High Court, I would urge you, Madam Speaker, to compel the Minister to answer why he issued that memorandum on behalf of the Cabinet.
Well, of course, Honorable Steenhuisen, I want to point out that Honorable Mainir must not ask many questions. Yes, Honorable.
On a point of order.
What's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, you recognise the Honourable Steen. The question has been put already in the House. The Minister must respond. He can't get away picking and
Honorable
choosing.
Steenhuisen, allow me including my mistakes, but allow me to chair.
But Speaker, with
Honourable
respect, the question
Steenhuisen.
has been put.
Honourable Steenhuisen,
Madam
please.
Speaker, the question has been put already.
Honourable
You can't
Steenhuisen.
withdraw the question. It's been put by a member who was recognised by yourself in terms of the rules.
Honourable
The Minister must
Steenhuisen.
answer the question.
Please take your seat now.
You are protecting the executive again. Surprise, surprise.
Take
True
your
to
seat.
type, protecting the executive.
Honourable
It's all that you're good
Steenhuisen.
for. It's all that you're good for.
Honourable Khadebe, can you put your follow-up question?
Speaker, may I address you on a point of order?
No.
Why not?
Honourable Waters, please let me proceed.
Madam Speaker, we've had this problem for over 2 years in this House, where the opposition feel that the presiding officers do not protect the opposition as they do ANC members. You are once again reinforcing that perception that you are biased. You have recognised a member on this side of the House. She's put a question, it's irrelevant. She's put a question, and the Honourable Minister must now answer that question. You are here to protect both sides of the House, not the one side, and not to take instructions from the Tuli House. And I put it to you, Honourable Speaker, that you insist that the Minister answers the question.
I will just now, when I'm through with recognizing Honourable Khadebe.
Speaker, may I address you in terms of Rule 26(4) of the Rules of the National Assembly?
Honourable Steenhuisen, let me be patient with you. Honourable Steenhuisen.
No, it's not patient. It's my right to raise a point of order in terms of the rules of the House. It's my right to raise that point of order. It says here that you must act fairly and impartially, and most importantly, apply the rules with due regard to ensuring the participation of members of all parties in a manner consistent with democracy. You recognise the Honourable Steyn. She put the question as you requested, and now you are allowing that minister to get away from his accountability to this House yet again. I would submit that you, Madam Speaker, are in violation of the very rules that you yourself should be upholding in this House. How on earth do you expect us to abide by the rules when you break them with such imperviousness?
And then we also have to, this House must also appreciate the fact that there is a separation of powers. The only person who can appoint or dismiss a minister is the President of the Republic. He's the only person, no other person. But will the minister, should, the question to the minister is this way: should the matters that are critical to the work of the House be determined by newspaper allegations, innuendos and reports? And if it is like that, will the minister agree with me that the first person the question should go to is the Premier of the Western Cape, who was also dined by the Guptas, who got money from the Guptas for the DA campaign? Thank you.
Point of order,
Honourable, the Minister.
Madam Speaker.
What's the point of order, Honourable Steenhuisen?
I wish to bring to your attention that the Minister is the previous Speaker is misleading this House dramatically. You would know that in terms of Section 92 of the Constitution, that ministers are accountable to Parliament, collectively and individually. There's nothing that happens in Cabinet for which they're not accountable to this House for. And he needs to ensure that that minister there responds to the questions that are answered. These were not allegations in a newspaper. It was a statement issued by that minister under the cover of darkness, which has plunged our banking sector into crisis. He must answer.
Honourable, the Minister.
No, thanks, Honourable Speaker. Let me agree with Honourable Mr. Khadebe on what he has said. As I've said it earlier on, I will repeat it. That according to the separation of powers, this matter belongs to Cabinet. I have clearly indicated that on the said evening of Friday, which Honourable Mainir seems to be problematizing, the issue of judicial inquiry can only be decided upon by the President. That's what I said. Thank you.
The Honorable Force.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And so will the Minister tell us why he issued this controversial statement and why he believed this controversial statement reflected the views of Cabinet? As easy as that.
The Honorable the Minister.
As I've said it before, Honorable Speaker, that all what I have said on that particular Friday, I want to repeat it here. For those who watched me when I was on TV, that the issues discussed in a cabinet cannot be of public consumption currently. The issue of the judicial inquiry will be decided by the President, and I do stand by that.
Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Steenhuisen.
Madam Speaker, the Constitution is very clear. Section 92(3). Members of the Cabinet must A, act in accordance with the Constitution, and B, here most importantly, provide Parliament with full and regular reports concerning matters under their control. The Minister issued a statement under his own hand into the public arena. It wasn't some cabinet discussion. It was something he
Honorable Steenhuisen, you have not been given an opportunity for a supplementary
I'm not
question.
putting a supplementary question.
So I am now requesting you to allow the next person for a supplementary
Madam
question,
Speaker,
because you are now pursuing
he
an
has
argument.
not answered the question. He is entitled to account to this House. You're letting him
Thank
get
you,
off.
Honorable Steenhuisen, for
Are you
what
trampling?
you are
You're trampling the Constitution again.
Thank
Every
you,
time you go to court, you get it handed to you there, precisely because you don't listen and you think that this Constitution is
Honorable
beneath you.
Steenhuisen,
You're a disgrace
may
as a
I
speaker.
appeal to you
You're a
to
disgrace
calm
as a
down.
speaker, and you can call the parliamentary
The
protection.
Honorable
You can call the parliamentary protection services. You are an
Honorable
embarrassment to this House. You're more of an embarrassment than that minister.
Honorable Shibambu, what's the point?
Speaker, I think there's a substantial point of order that must be raised with the confused understanding of the separation of powers as explained by the Minister, because we're now going into question session. He stands up and said that Cabinet is a separate entity. It cannot account to Parliament. It's not accountable to Parliament.
Honorable
Should we leave
Shibambu,
that unchallenged? Because we want to know what is Cabinet deciding and what
Honorable
informs such
Shibambu,
decisions.
that's now
That
a
is how
fifth question.
The separation of powers is all about.
That's a fifth question, it's not a point of
clarify
order.
that, and from where you are, you must rein on that Gupta minister to say that that is not how separation of powers is understood in this Parliament.
You are raising a political argument. I think let's find a place for it and move on to question number 185 from the Honorable Buthelezi
can you
to the Minister of Finance.
Speaker, can you please recognize me, please?
Yes, please take your seat, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, and may I now recognize you?
Thank you, Speaker. I think first and foremost, we had a discussion here recently with the Deputy President, who said ministers will come here to answer questions. Those questions speak to some of the discussion that takes place in Cabinet. They are accountable to this Parliament. No, Speaker, this is a critical issue for the understanding of what the job of Parliament is. So if we can't ask questions of ministers about points they communicate to the South African public, putting us at fiscal risk, then this entire institution is a complete joke, and you are making it such to be one. Can I prevail on you to ask that minister to answer the simple question?
Honorable Maimane, that's not a point of order.